Hi, I'm Mike Yanessa. Welcome to another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. If you haven't seen our show before, you can go to the internet at the PCTV network and view past episodes. Ever since I started this show a few years back, I've been asking a lot of people to bring in pictures, slides, movies of cruising high street, drag racing, stock car racing, any local car history. Well, this summer, I was at a car show, and I saw a guy that I know, Harry Kappenstein, and Harry Kappenstein brought me in a pack of slides. Now, slides, maybe some of the younger viewers won't know, were little pictures like this one. They're in a carousel, and back in the 60s, 70s, if you went on vacation or you Easter, Christmas, holidays, you got the pictures developed in the slides. And then you sat down with a projector, you had a screen, and the whole family would sit in the living room and watch the slides on a screen or on a wall. I mean, we have one, I have slides at home, which I'll have to dig out and bring in. But he brought these in, and what we've done here, we converted these slides into digital format, have it on the TV screen, and we're gonna share those with you tonight. They're pictures of Denny's family's cars. I mean, Harry and Denny, they're brothers, their cars, and it's pictures of 1970 at Maple Grove and York Dragway. There's a lot of cars on here you'll recognize. I don't know them all, so let's sit back. We'll get the slides started. Thank you very much for bringing these in, Harry, and I'm sure it's going to be a good show. There's Harry's Nova. What a beauty. Now, this is a black Nova that raced back in the day. This is a summer of 1970. I'm going to say it's a 68 because of the Super Sport emblem on the bottom, and it's a 427. You can see the insignia on the side there. And I'm not sure, to be honest with you, if it's Maple Grove or York, but our viewers will probably be able to tell me. And this is Harry's brother, Denny Kappenstein. I know Denny, and this is his 67 Chevelle. He's in the staging lanes at Maple Grove. You can see back then it wasn't bracket racing, it was all classed, and it would be Super Stock G. His car number is 322. But it's just cool to look at the detail, like the inspection stickers. Do you remember when they were 2s and 4s and 1s and 3s? They were done twice a year instead of once a year. But that's the staging lanes at Maple Grove. There he is, getting done his burnout. And look at the background. I mean, look at the old trailer and the old ambulance, 55 Cadillac ambulance there. Maple Grove Dragway. And this is Harry's brother, Denny Kappenstein. Now, this is a familiar one here. This one we've had on the show before. Tony Zimba, Willys. And Hine Auto Body in Douglasville did the body and paint. But yeah, this is Tony's Willys on the trailer. Look at the homemade trailer. And the big boys were here. There's Baltimore Bandit funny car. That's a 68 Barracuda. Bob Banning Dodge out of Maryland, funny car, 70 Challenger. The Eastern Raider funny car. And what kind of car is that? Yankee Peddler. There's another familiar one. These are a lot of local cars, and like I said, if you look at the background shots, the way people were dressed, the Hemi engines, it's really, really something. The wheels, the tires, it's definitely 1970. This one is one for the viewers. We couldn't figure out who this is. It's not a Willys, it's a 40 Ford S&W Speed Shop. We thought maybe it was Teddy Slayball. No. So anybody that knows who this is at Maple Grove, let us know here at Car Stories on PCTV. Heavy Hemi. That is a 33 Willys. Look at the old Pontiac ambulance in the background. And looks like a 68 Torino, probably a Cobra Jet. Now, here's one. Teddy Cass, local guy. Friedman Brothers Auto Parts in Pottstown sponsored this Nova. 66 Nova Super Sport. Craigers and White Walls, old time slicks. Friedman Brothers was up on West High Street. Now we're Hudson Performances and the R&R Transmission. That was Friedman Brothers. They had auto parts, And then later on, they moved down further where Rental is, and they did auto glass installation and auto parts. But they sponsored this car. Really a cool Nova. And again, look at the background. Looks like a 65, 64 Malibu SS he's running. Werner's tow truck there in the background. He's, as far as I know, to this day, still has a tow truck at Maple Grove. And if you really look close, you can see some cool old cars. It's that a 68 Super Bee, that white one in the background. Again, summer of 1970, Maple Grove. That one there's Tony Zimba again, getting ready to race. Let's look at this one. This is Bradford's 427 Chevy. I believe you would say it's an Angula. T-bucket with a big Hemi in it, blown. Rat Trap, I remember this car. Again, a big Hemi. All of them ran Hemis back then, Chrysler Hemi heads. And this is in the pits. Looks like they're working on it or looking at it. Pure Heaven 2, another altered. Doesn't look like a Hemi though. Some dragsters with the chutes open. Now we're going to York. This is, I believe it's York. I don't believe that's Maple Grove anymore. And this would be the Summer Nationals in 1970. How about that front engine dragster? How about this one? I never saw this car before. Jimmy Elliott's Apricot Brandy, 1954 Corvette. Look at that paint job. I'm not quite sure how they did it, but it is awesome. Like I said, I don't know much about some of these cars. I'm hoping that our viewers do. If you want to, get in touch with me at Wheels in Motion at 525 East High Street, or give me a call, 610-327-1945. We'd love to hear from you. And some information on some of these cool old cars that raced back in 1970. How about that one with the wheels up in the air, straight axle? Again, this one's at York. Summer Nationals. That is Bruce Larson, 1970 USA 1 Camaro. Bruce was on our show when we did the event, the Glory Days event up at Maple Grove a few years back. Really nice guy. He lives in Western Pennsylvania. He has a nice museum up there. One of these days I'm going to get there to see his cars. He just recently redid this car. It's the same body, same paint scheme and everything, but it's updated to meet current NHRA standards. So that is the USA 1 Bruce Larson 1970 Camaro. Awesome, awesome car. That's a Cuda there. I'm not sure who that is, but he's doing a good burnout. Front engine dragster. Again, look at the scenery, the old pickup trucks and, the farmland. It's unbelievable. How about that one there with its wheels up in the air? That would be Grumpy's Toy. 1970 Camaro, campaigned by Grumpy Jenkins. One of the all-time favorite race cars, drag cars. Jenkins had 68 Camaro, 70 Camaro, he had Vegas, and this was at the Summer Nationals. And who's he running against? He's running against a Duster over here. Let's see if we can get the name off of that. Griffin. I'm not sure what this is, folks. This is an old coupe. There's a 1968-69 Opel Kadett. They were a little car that were distributed in the U.S. by Buick, and they were real popular for racing because they were so little and lightweight. And that one there has a big engine and big tires, and I'm sure it went really fast. Sox and Martin, another big name, 1970 Plymouth. Styles Performance Duster. So there they are, running one off at York. Vandersteen. Apparently they had several speed shops. There's another picture in here where they had speed shops on the East Coast Wild paint job, 55 Chevy. Jim Oddie, still racing today, still does performance work, well known. Not sure what type of car it is, but I'm sure some of the viewers could tell me. Front engine dragster doing a burnout. Now, this one is actually Harry Kappenstein and Denny Kappenstein's father owned this 56 Chevy two-door sedan. This is 1970 again, with the deep dish Kragers on it. Just a beautiful, beautiful car. And then there's Denny Chevelle, 67 Chevelle, 327, 4-speed. And this is Frank Monahan, Gemini Cricket. It's a Dodge product, pickup truck. The Bounty Hunter, Connie Coletta. There it is, back in the day. That's not him aside of it, that was another fella. Larry Arnold's Super Cuda. Just look at the paint jobs. I mean, look at the graphics, the panel painting, the metal flake. I mean, I love to see these things in person. The white walls, double white walls on Keystone Keystone Classics. I don't know that I'm a Camaro guy, but I never saw this one. Frank Huff and Claire Sanders. Look at the driver's name, sideways. Again, lace painting on the quarter panels, panel painted. Mismatched wheels, which we did back then, and I'd still do today sometimes if I want to have that nostalgia look. It's got the slots on the back and the dark spokes on the front. 68 Camaro, probably, stretched. Jungle Jim Lieberman, probably one of the best known local racers, and his funny car. Larry Goldstein, Ram Charger from Rockville Center Dodge, Long Island, New York. 1970 Olds 442. Really good stuff. I'm not sure who that is either. If you know, don't forget to let us know here at Car Stories. Dandy Dick Landy in that 70 Challenger, racing another 70 Challenger. I can't make out the name. I drag raced in the 80s and the 90s. These are a little before my time. I mean, I know some of the history from the old days, but I need some help on some of these old cars. Somebody might recognize that car right away by the way it's painted. Nothing but cornfields in the background. Grumpy's Toy, there's a close-up shot of that 70 Camaro you saw earlier. Car number 101 Pro, Grumpy's Toy number 7. So, really, really cool car. Another big burnout by some dragsters, front engine dragsters. The 68 Dodge wagon ready to tow. There's that Vanderslice. See, it says Hanover, New Jersey, Springfield, New Jersey, and Wall, New Jersey, Wall Township. So he had some speed shops, but I'm not familiar with them. But Bob Bradshaw, 55 Chevy, really wild paint job there. There's Larson's car in the pit, 2 Larson cars side by side. Some wild paint job on that car. There's the Opel we saw earlier, Dave Mason. Jim Oddie with his old Hemi there. Gene Cooper, that was the coupe we saw earlier. Again, not sure what that is. Look at the background shot, 62 bubble top way in the back there, that white one. They only made 1,500 of them with that roof. It's a roof left over from 1961. A lot of them were 409s and a lot of them were 6-cylinders. The old pickup trucks. You know, nobody had an enclosed trailer back then unless you were really a big boy. Like this one here. Look at that car hauler from Ford. Now, if you look at this Dodge Charger, red, white, and blue, look at the back wheel wells. Look how much they lowered the body on the car. I mean, Back in the 60s and early 70s, they were changing wheelbases, changing the ride height, trying to get the car to hook better and get more traction. Just an odd looking car if you look at it, the way it's really lowered down there and the wheels are cut out for those big tires. Racing the Angula. I guess that's an Angula wagon or a sedan delivery. That's an Opel GT. Another one. 65 Impala wagon in the background there, probably the tow vehicle. There's Bruce again in his USA 1 Camaro. A lot of people behind you there, a lot of big crowd. Well, it's the Summer Nationals. Yep. Now, this is taken right up in Stowe. That would be Harry's Nova. Then Harry knows where the car is today, and he's trying desperately to buy it back. The guy he sold it to in the 70s still has it, and if the guy ever decides to sell it, he gets first crack at it. And right behind is Denny's 67 Chevelle. That's his brother. You see the tow hooks on the front, and then there's Harry's 69 El Camino and his father's 56 Chevy, all lined up in Stowe at their family home. And there's Harry, must have won a trophy at the drags. So got it on the roof there, showing it off. I met Harry this summer at a car show and he told me he had these slides, and I want to thank him for bringing them in and sharing them with us. Wow, that was really good, those slides that Harry Kappenstein let us use here to show on PCTV. Last summer, Kevin Tetz, he's from the TV show Trucks, he was in town. He represents Eastwood, and Eastwood sent him over here to talk to me, and we did a nice film, and I'm going to share that with you tonight. So sit back and we'll watch back in the summertime when it was warm, not like the cold weather we have now. We'll be out cruising in the 59 Impala.
We're downtown Pottstown, Pennsylvania at Wheels in Motion. This beautiful old deco building was a car dealership for 83 years, and now it's a full-service collision center and custom restoration shop. Rumor has it there's some awesome Survivor cars in the back. Let's go take a look. Now, the showroom here is immaculate, and the cars are changed out all the time. Today, it's restored and unrestored Corvettes. Now, the history of this place is unbelievable. You just don't see this anymore, and it's beautifully documented in still frame photography on the back wall. But what we're really here to see is untouched, unrestored cars from the 50s and 60s. Let's go. Mike, you got a real nice clean shop here, and obviously late model collision repair mixed in with a bunch of classics, including that F-body Camaro over there, which is near and dear to my heart with the Z-Sled project.
Right.
But tell me about the unrestored cars. What's this?
63 Impala Super Sport convertible, 38,000 miles, original owner. He parked it in 1974, and we just drug it out of the garage, and here it is.
Cool. This bubble top?
61 bubble top. I bought it in 1999. And I finally sold it to my son when he was 16 years old. He just shined it up a little bit. He put lancers and wide white walls. He's getting ready to cruise.
Very cool. Man, I could stand here and talk to you about these cars all day long.
Me too.
Can you show me the 59?
Show you the 59. I'll go one better. Let's take it for a ride.
I like that. So is this manual steering, power steering?
Power steering, yes. Manual brakes, power steering.
Yep.
It's a 283 Turbo Glide. And the Turbo Glide doesn't have gears. It has 3 torque converters. And you won't feel a shift. It's more just a transition between each converter.
So all those ads in Popular Science magazine that called these 59 Impalas whispery smooth, that's what that was about, right?
That's right, the Turbo Glide. And They got a bad rap back in the day because a lot of them were behind 348s,
Right.
and they didn't hold up well. But behind the 283, they're actually a pretty cool transmission.
Yeah. Well, this car is just so cherry. The headliner, you could lie to me and say you replaced this stuff, and the carpet, it's just unbelievable, man. What a time capsule.
It is. Let me tell you a little about the car. The car was sold new at my shop. It was a Chevrolet dealer in 1959. But when I was a young kid, this belonged to a local gas station owner. And on the days he brought this car to work, you weren't allowed near the air pump to put air in your bicycle tires.
Okay.
And I always admired it. It was an unusual color. And that was in the 60s.
Wow.
It was in a heated garage for 44 years. He passed away in like 1989. So it literally sat from 89 to 2012 when I bought it. He had all the mileage written down, and he'd put 100 miles a year on it. So the car never got driven, but who'd have known that a few years later I'd wind up buying the building where it came from new.
What car has that provenance? That's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. So the colors of these cars, you might think that people in 1959 were colorblind, but
Yeah.
but the truth is, you got a palette and you could order this car in any color combination that you want as long as it was in the color choice guide, right?
Right.
So
right.
somebody chose this weird bluish gray dash color and the rose colored exterior.
You have the cameo coral. I didn't know, but I found out through taking it to different shows. It's a very rare color on Impalas. Being its original paint and 34,000 miles,
Yeah.
it's probably the only one around that's this color, unrestored.
Yeah. Now, you and I are both old enough to have gone to drive-in movies when we were kids. Probably
That's right.
teenagers too.
Yep.
So this car makes me think drive-in movies. Drive-in movies make me think of ridiculously inappropriate things happening in the back seat.
Right.
Back seat. But I'm looking at it and I don't see. I see original upholstery that's in pretty good shape. So I
That's
think
right.
we're safe.
We're safe. And remember how many people you could put in the trunk of this car? Remember
Oh yeah, there was contest.
to get into the. This one would have definitely held a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a thing that, I do my research and stuff, the car only weighs 3,600 pounds.
Really?
And you would expect it to be 4,000.
Oh, I would have nodded my head.
So-
Said if you said 4,500 pounds.
And I was in disbelief, like it has to be wrong, but every piece of documentation I could find is 3,600 pounds.
Wow. And a late model GT Mustang weighs about 36 and a half.
With all that plastic.
Yeah,
And, this is
yeah.
all steel.
Well, you were talking about the fins earlier on, and my dad had a 59 El Camino when we were kids.
Yep.
And my dad and mom would stress over that car because of me and my brother Blaine, because my mom would stress over us riding our bikes around that car with our bicycles because these fins are deadly frickin' weapons.
Yes.
And my dad would stress over us riding our bikes around the car because the handlebars would
You
scrub
scratch
us
his
up.
paint. So,
So
Mom was
we
worried
couldn't
about
win.
your health, and Dad was worried about the car.
Oh.
I don't know if I mentioned, Kevin, where we're riding right now is High Street in Pottstown, and from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, this was literally the cruising capital of the East Coast.
No kidding.
Everybody came here with their hot rods. They had illegal drag racing out on the bypass, and it was really an attraction. Of course, in the last few years, it's died down. They changed the lane configurations, and nobody does it anymore. But for 40 years, this was the place to cruise.
Yeah.
Kevin, you want to drive it back?
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Okay.
You're
yes.
here for today?
Yes, I do. Hope I can see over the steering wheel. Wow, effortless steering, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I grew up in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay,
My
yeah.
family's from Canada. I moved down to the States in 1984. So for me to hear and read about, Woodward Avenue and cruising California,
Yep.
I'm on High Street with a beautiful unrestored car cruising. This is awesome, man. There's just something about being in a car like this that it's almost like a form of meditation.
Oh, you'll like this too, Kevin. And of course, we have the tube radio. It needs to warm up.
Yep.
A lot of people don't remember that. Well, we only got AM. So what I bought is, remember these from the 70s, a Spark-O-Matic
I remember Spark-O-Matic.
converter, piped it through the original tube radio. So we have AM, FM through the original sounding 59 radio with the speaker in the center of the back seat and the speaker up front. So there's that.
That's awesome. Well, Mike, I don't want to run this odometer up anymore. I'm going to turn in
We're clocking on the
to
miles.
the dealership here, and I just want to say thanks, man. This is
Yeah,
a
just pull her up front, Kevin.
absolute thrill to be able to drive this car, and I thank you.
I thank you for coming in.
This is awesome.
Yep. Okay, that about wraps it up for another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. Brought to you by Wheels in Motion, my company at 525 East High Street. We'll see you next time.